Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Luv Subbin. And this week is going to be a little bit different.
Right, we're at the Region 1 rally in
Hampton, Massachusetts. And you can see we're surrounded by all kinds of other Luv Subs.
Exactly.
But as part of a rally like this, sometimes they have presentations.
And seminars and how to do certain things.
And we were asked to, believe it or not, give
a seminar.
Organizing your tiny space in your rig. So
right.
It'll be a little bit different, but we're going to go ahead and show you parts of that seminar overlaid with some of our presentation.
Right. And
hopefully it'll help you figure out how to make the most of your tiny space rig.
Hope you enjoy the video.
Introduce our next speakers, Rich and Cindy Collins, kind of well-known people in the New England local Airstream club, as well as the YouTubers of this area. So, and let me present to you Rich and Cindy.
Okay, I'm going to try and just project here a little bit. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good. Okay, so if you are here to learn how to organize your tow vehicle and your rig, you're at the right place. Let's talk about what we're going to learn here in the next couple of minutes. First of which, we're going to describe the process of organization. It's not just making things kind of better or whatever, but there's actually a set process to do that, okay? And we're going to go through that soon. But it is not the Marie Kondo organization. Anybody done that?
So we are going to talk about tips and tricks and how to organize your trailer. And believe it or not, there is actually a method to do this.
Yes, there is. That's us. We're from the New England unit. All right, so why should you listen to us? Why are we supposedly organization people? Well, all started at work with a phone call. So I'm sitting there and I get a phone call and they say, hey Richard, would you like to go to Japan for a couple of weeks? Go to Toyota, go to the Toyota City factory where they actually make, there's a city called Toyota City, where they make the Priuses, and sit there and learn organization from the Japanese and Toyota for a couple of weeks. What do you think? Yeah. So I'm like, heck yeah. Why not? So, and then what happened was though, I came back and all I kept talking about to Cindy was
these square watermelons. Apparently it was part of the seminar that he was given.
Yeah, so the efficiency seminar was so into every other little detail. They were like, shipping watermelons is a pain in the butt. They're round, they don't go anywhere. So they learned to put the watermelons in little glass squares, grow the watermelons in the glass squares, and then they could ship them. They would grow as a square, and then they could ship them in an organized, efficient fashion. That was the level of detail that we went into in this couple of weeks in Japan.
Very much a space saver.
Yeah, we're going to get back to this because this is a good way to save some spaces in your rig. All right, so that process is called 5S. Has anybody heard about that? Anybody working in factories or food factories? So you hear a little bit about that stuff. So it consists of literally 5S. The first of which is sort. Okay, so this was our first lesson, day 1. And the thing is, there is nothing more useless than trying to make efficient that which should not be done at all, right? Or they were saying, there's nothing more useless than organizing stuff you don't need, right? So the first thing you do in your organization of your rig or your Airstream or whatever is you get rid of anything that you don't need. There's a way to do that.
So we do sorting once a year, and that happens in winterization because we're emptying our trailer entirely for the season at that point. And when we do that, we look at everything, we touch everything, and we say to ourselves, did we pull this out during a trip, or did we use this during a trip? And if the answer was no, then maybe we set that thing aside and don't bring it next time, and then we see if we miss it. But we also, when we take things out of the trailer, if we like the way we organize something, we take pictures so that we can remember next year how we organize something.
Right. And who's on Airstream Addicts here? Anybody on Airstream Addicts? Like everybody? Okay. So you get that question, right? What do you take out of your, usually around November, right? October, November, what do you take out of your Airstream? You know, do I take your, we take everything out for this reason, okay? Is a mouse going to eat a pot? Probably not. Mouse will eat that cereal. But that mouse won't eat that pop. But we take it out and say, did we use this thing? Did we actually physically use this?
We leave the mattress though.
But we take the seat cushions in.
That is true.
The mattress is just too big. The other thing about sort, when you're going through this sort process, is that it's not just going through and junking stuff. It's getting rid of, like I say, that which you don't need. For example, under our bed, we have 2 drawers that we use. And we were noticing we weren't using the second drawer a whole lot, right? So one of the things that we could do would be to take all the stuff in those 2 drawers, combine it into one, get rid of that drawer, which I don't know what your drawers are, but ours are made of steel. Or the thing
Yep, they're very heavy with thick wood.
And turn it into a shoe cubby. So what you see there is our tension rod with a curtain that we can throw our shoes. So we got rid of that drawer and turned it into something useful. So we sorted that drawer, which
we put a little mat, like a welcome mat, that we just trim to fit the bottom, and we can keep that back in and clean in between trips.
Yep. So that's a different concept of the way that we sort things. Okay, so set in order.
So that's sort of the missing class of a cooking terminology, and it sort of fits like what I do too in the kitchen as well. If there's something that I use a lot, like my chef's knife or a spatula or something like that, that is within easy reach. And if it's something that I don't use a lot, maybe my microplane or maybe my thermopen, that is a little harder to get to.
Right, so yeah, mise en place, all the chefs talk, everything in their place, and a place for everything. So for example, one tip that I think is great, and I did it because we're part-time, full-timers, so we don't live out of that thing. We go out for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and in between, the stuff goes in. And then it's like, how do I put the stuff back in the truck? So we generated a load plan. It's not spectacular, it's not intense, but it's just right in this.
It saves us time each time around trying to figure out how we did something. It's kind of like taking a picture.
So everything is in its place, and I know exactly where things are, and when I'm going to reload the truck at the beginning of the season, all that stuff goes right in, right at that exact same place.
And you also load it according to how prioritized the item is.
You'll have to stratify the stuff that you're putting into your truck, okay, or your Airstream, or your kitchen. For example, I carry 3 tool bags, okay, and neither of the 3 are that big, but it works. So for example, here, this one here sits right under the tailgate, right at the tailgate, and these are the things I use each and every time. When we were doing it with our factory, it was a 5-second rule. When a mechanic walked up to his or her toolbox, they had 5 seconds to find any tool that they needed. That was the standard that was set. And that's kind of this my 5-second tool bag here. And I love this thing because it's got these little pockets on the side so that the stuff I use all the time. Phillips head screwdriver, screwing those screws right to fall out. The greatest tool ever made in the history of tool making.
Yes.
A rock was once used as an arrow. The offset screwdriver, greatest tool ever. But this is the stuff that I use all the time. Then for all the small items, these Klein tool bags. You'll see it later on. These Klein tool bags. These things can hold all my small items so that they're not. I don't have to shuffle through this whole thing in between.
And you also,
the small hammer.
He also knows what items go in that.
Right, small hammer, my can of WD-40, all stuff that you use all the time, right? Right there at the end of the tail of the truck, right where I can get to instantly. And it's not that big. The next one, you guys are going to be totally bummed if that falls over because you won't be able to see the exciting demonstration, right? The next one is the one that gets used, say, every few days. Okay, so this one might be calipers. This one might be a plumber's wrench or something like that I wouldn't use every single day. And this one sits, and that's my truck, that blue one, right by one of the wind doors. You know, I've got the cap with the doors that open up on the side. This one sits on the side so that I can get to it, and I might use something every day, every few weeks. But I could easily just have a tool bag that could fit both of these things. But then it becomes more difficult to find exactly what you need quickly. So it's a stratification of the tools.
And don't forget markers.
Yeah.
And labels, markers and labels are your friend when you are organizing.
Yep. And finally, the final level is the stuff I almost never use, but I find myself needing. For example, like my endoscope. We all have, who's got an endoscope? Anyone else? You got one? Seriously? My gas, my combustible gas detector. And again, these Klein tool bags that you can get on Amazon are great. So the blue is my Dremel, the brown is my hot glue gun set, and the orange are the lesser known tools, small tools that I would use. Like if somebody broke into our Airstream and I had to replace the screen, I've got my little screen tool that I can insert the screen back in. Very rarely used, but nevertheless important.
And where is that one stored?
And this, yeah, good point. This one is stored where I have to literally crawl in and empty out half the truck to get to this thing. So, because I only use it once every, hopefully with that screen tool, I never use that thing. And then finally, one of the reasons you do this is to make life easier on yourself, right? Just like Cindy said, a label maker, when you're trying to organize, is your friend. Well, I have labeled every circuit with every plug on the Airstream, so that when something goes bad, I can sit there and say, wow, everything on circuit 4 is out.
And you can figure out the fuse.
I probably, circuit breaker.
Or the circuit breaker.
Right, I could probably figure that out pretty quickly versus having to do some more troubleshooting. Same thing with the wires that I've got in my converter, are all labeled and diagrammed. So labeling that kind of stuff can be your friend.
And when we fix something, as we fix something, we try to improve the design of it as well, like with this Wagyu bus connector.
Yep, yeah. And that's part of it, we'll get into that in just a sec, but it's all that mentality that says, I am never satisfied with, now if you're a slob, and that's the way you like living your life, then that's cool, do that, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking, you know, Cindy and I just love organizing. Okay, so the next one they have up here is shine. And shining is the process of cleaning. And you know, when we were in our factory, you would, you know, if you've toured factories, you've seen these with the nice shiny cores and the lines and all this other stuff. You know, that helps make it nice. It makes it a nice environment. For me, having something clean is nice. But that's not why you clean things. The purpose of cleaning and shining and getting everything nice and neat is to detect defects. That's why you're out there looking for things. That's why you're cleaning things. That's my old 5.4 liter Triton V8, and it's 17 years old at that point when that picture was being taken. And it was hard to see, but it was pretty stinking clean, right? And the reason for that is it's all oily and gunked up and dusty. You either can't see that you've got a problem, or you can't see that the problem is getting worse and worse and worse, right? So that's why you keep it, you know, that's the real reason with that one S, which is the shine.
I'll give you another example. Before we left on this trip, Rich cleaned the roof of the Airstream, and by doing that, he was able to check the things that are on the Airstream roof, make sure that the air conditioner covered and had any cracks, make sure we had lost any rivets, and all the sealant was looking good.
Right, I did it just so that I could get a sweet drone shot. But she's like up there, make sure you know the rivet that's out. And I'm like, yeah. I did 2 years ago, find a little rivet.
Oh, wow! Yeah. You need to push back that.
That's called multitasking. Okay, Mark, we're excited when we were talking about that because I am a checklist dude, right? I'm all over it. And I've been doing this for 19 years. You will never, ever see me hitching or unhitching without my checklist, ever, right? And those things, they're laminated. I've got 3 of these. This is my departing checklist. Exterior, hitching evolution, page 1 of 2, and hitching evolution, page 2 of 2. They're laminated, they hang on my neck, and they're punched upside down, so that when I lift them up, I can read them, right? And these things were intensely of that. I think some people have said because they're rushing, right? Or the other reason you need these things is when you're distracted, right? How many times have somebody come up to you and said, well, when I first bought mine, it was always the first question we got was, do they still make those things?
Yes.
Right? If you've got an older one, you know that, right? Now, you're everywhere. But I'd be hitching to be in the middle of something and somebody would come up to me, talk, blah, 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 how much do they cost, wow, those are the Cadillac of trailers, and then you'd be able to pick yourself up right where you left off, right? I have made one mistake in my life with these things. They talked about antennas being up. I drove off from a rally with my blocks. I had 2 half-inch blocks to level it. For whatever reason, I drove off the rally.
Well, it's because the grass was so high that they kind of sunk right down in there, and I think we missed it that
See,
way.
that's what a good sidekick is, right? But because of that, I was given those blocks at the next rally, and actually at happy hour, I wore them around my neck as punishment for having failed.
And don't think I escaped the checklist for the inside either. So I have a set of these just tailored for my inside checks, like checking the windows, checking to make sure the cabinet doors are all latched, making sure that your refrigerator is set up for travel with the latch that holds it in place, and that sort of thing.
I can't emphasize, I love these things. And they can be downloaded for free at www.luvsubbin.com/checklist. And of course, in my little green book here, the other thing to do for organizations is our maintenance log. And I can tell you right now, the Airstream has exactly 85,066.8 miles.
Of tow time.
Of mileage, you know, and you know, I've got exactly when my last wheel bearings were repacked. You know, every single fuel stop that I've ever done in the history of towing is listed in my maintenance logs here. This is something that is foreign. This was foreign to me, and I still have a tough time putting it around my head. That we were taught that the worst condition ever of the machine that you receive is on the day it shows up in the factory floor. The one on the right was April 11th, 2002, when we picked up our Airstream from Donmar RV and off I-95 in South Carolina. And that's when we picked up the loft truck there in February of 18. February 19th. But those 2 pictures we have up there to show that is the worst condition that truck will ever be in and that Airstream will ever be in, because we spent 19 years improving the Airstream and we spent 2 years improving the truck from some of the pictures that will show up here in just a few seconds. So we're going to just show some examples of how you never ever kind of settle for something. Be creative in your solution. So I'm pretty proud of this one. This is our portable washing machine, right? And we started a cardboard container, right?
That's how we transported it during our spring trip.
Right, when we went out for a month. And we started, it ain't gonna work. So we got this is actually 2 bins that we bought. Here's our 2 little Summit portable washing machine. But it's just 2 bins that go.
We couldn't find something that was tall enough to cover it, and we needed to be able to cover the top so that we could put stuff on top of it in the truck.
I do the same thing with my generator. Not only that, it allows you to have now a shelf so that you can put stuff on top of it in your truck versus just this. And then when I go to use it, if I want to, I can do this. And I have my little drain over here if I need to. You know, so it's just one of those things that...
It multitasks a little bit.
Yeah, it's the creativity of your solutions that keep this process going. Who's got mouse fur in their Airstream? I love mouse fur.
We love it.
Anything with Velcro sticks to mouse fur. So, for example, on our dinette, Cindy's got her glasses case right where she sits with her spare set of glasses stuck there. She can just pull them out right when she needs them. Right at point of use. Doesn't have to be looking for them or anything.
This was one of my solutions for we have a back bed.
Corner bed.
And he has a place to put his stuff on his side because we have a countertop to the right of it. But I don't have a nightstand. So I ended up using a cargo net that's meant for a car, stuck it to the wall, and now I have a place for a bottle of water, my iPhone, my Kindle, and a little thermodrop temperature. So in the middle of the night, I can just check the temperature.
For those of you with aluminum everywhere, we have it only in one corner. Those are the suction cups. Those are the suction cups for your friends. We have a suction cup for our paper towel holder. We have suction cups to hold our onions. We have suction cups to hold towel. Everything is suction cups.
It sticks on the wall, and you're really maximizing your vertical space and getting things off your countertops.
Right, and that's one of the keys to maximize when you're doing this.
And these suction cups were from Walmart, and basically they're vacuum sealed, and so you stick it to the wall, and then you pull up the hook, and it really sticks.
Right. And again, continuing with the theme of going vertical, we use the space by the door. We just added this hanger, hooky thingy last year, and the shoe caddy this year. Also go vertical, like in your shelf. You can go vertical with
The risers that you can get in the kitchen department to put dishes on. You can find one that fits your cabinet. You can put stuff underneath, and you can stack things on top, and you can just use up that entire space there. And I do that in the closet as well, because there's a wasted space in your closet underneath your clothes, and so that's an additional shelf for shoes.
All of our containers that we hold are all clear, so that we can see what's inside of them, and they're all square.
And they're labeled.
Including our glass holders, right?
Right.
And there's one more thing that Cindy wants to show you here.
So another thing I did to improve our closet space was to take out the big, thick plastic coat hangers and replace them with these really thin ones, and that helps maximize the closet space. The only reason I would use a thicker hanger is if it was a really heavy object that would tend to pull it, and he has jeans and stuff, and a heavy coat that I would use a thicker hanger for, but for the most part, these work great, and again, you can get them at Walmart, and they're really cheap.
So when Cindy pulls up her next one, we've got a real small fridge. We've got, I think, 4 cubic feet, so it's pretty small, so we have to maximize our space and efficiency. So she found this thing, which is super cool.
This is called a swag bag, and it's a really neat solution to storing your vegetables, and you basically get it wet, and then you can put all your vegetables in there. I have green onions, lettuce, chives, anything that likes to sit well together. Oh, and I have some citrus in there too. But it keeps your vegetables nice in your fridge for a longer time. And the bonus that I found when our fridge went a little wonky, and I think we left it too cold because we were on gas, but it protects your lettuce and other vegetables from freezer burn.
So that was basically the end of our presentation.
We had a lot of fun, and the rest was basically just answering questions and comments from the audience.
So if you like this video,
give us a big thumbs up.
And if you think we've earned a subscription, click the subscribe.
And comment below if you have any tips for organizing your tiny space.
Because we come out with Airstream and RV related videos just like this one every Tuesday.
Thanks for watching.